Hey everyone, I'm DT10 and in this video I'll be showcasing a brand new add-on I've made for Dalek Mod 1.16.5. So a while back I actually made two different add-ons for the Dalek Mod. One of them was a classic TARDIS interior add-on, and it basically added modified versions of all of my classic interiors from my vanilla tutorial series. And then the other one just did exactly the same thing for the new Who TARDIS interiors. However, since then I've actually remade all of the tutorials for the 9th and 10th, the 11th first, the 12th, 13th, and now 14th Doctor's TARDIS interiors, and so I've decided to make a brand new add-on. So I'll start by showcasing all of the TARDIS interiors in this add-on, and then at the end of the video I'll show you how you can use the link in the description to download and play the add-on for yourself. So if you end up enjoying this video, then please consider subscribing, and with that out of the way, let's get started. So to find all of these TARDIS interiors, the first thing you need to do is obviously get yourself a TARDIS, and obviously in creative mode you can just grab one from the creative inventory, although in survival mode that will obviously take quite a bit longer. So place your TARDIS down and then head on inside, and then go over to this thing right here, the ARS machine, and here you can find all of my new interiors. So as you can see, we've got the 9th and 10th, the 12th, the 14th/15th, the 11th first, and then also the 13th. And so we'll do these in chronological order, starting with the 9th and 10th interior. So if you're building these in survival mode, I've made sure to include the sort of main blocks that you need to build this. I've not included every single block because there's loads of them, they're very detailed, but I've sort of rounded the main blocks that you need to sort of the nearest whole number or the nearest 5 or whatever, so that you can just gather all of them, and then obviously all of the controls for the TARDIS as well. So let's press build and take a look at this one. And if we head on inside, here we are inside the 9th and 10th TARDIS interior. So it's not too different to the one that I did in my vanilla tutorial. The one difference obviously is the walls. I've replaced them with these yellow terracotta roundels and then the smaller roundels as well, which is just purely because they are absolutely perfect for this TARDIS. They're pretty much made for it. I've also gone ahead and changed the flooring to be steel grate slabs with steel slab outlines, purely because these blocks were too perfect to not use for this TARDIS. I chose to leave the carpet in. It doesn't necessarily make too much sense to be on the outside of the glass. I just think it looks a little bit weird without them, and the time rotor looks really long, so it sort of just helps to make it look a little bit better in my opinion. So there's not a whole lot else to see in this TARDIS, so we'll head over to the ARS machine and move on to the next one, which is the 11th Doctor's first TARDIS interior. This one has a huge crafting recipe if you're building in survival, by the way, so apologies for that. But if I don't include this, then you've basically got a way to get thousands and thousands of blocks entirely for free. Anyway, let's take a look at this one, and as you can see, I've actually not changed too much in this one either. There's just been some key block replacements. For example, all of the slabs in this console platform have been replaced with black smooth plastic, as well as all of the walkways that lead off, purely just because it's a much better block for it. And then the deep slate tiles in the roof have been replaced with some scorched smooth quartz. That's a little bit of a mouthful to say. And then this bit at the top I replaced. Now, I wasn't too sure about this one, but I actually used calcite in the original design, and obviously that's not in Dalek Mod 1.16, so I had to find a suitable alternative, and I think it looks pretty good. So something you may have noticed if you've already downloaded the add-on for the classic TARDIS interiors is that I'm changing quite a few more blocks. So in the classic interiors, I very much made sure not to change a lot of the blocks, even if there were blocks within the Dalek mod that worked a lot better, to sort of retain the original design. But for this, I've taken a little bit of a different approach and replaced them with blocks in the Dalek mod that I think look really good. And that's just a personal preference thing. I just wanted to go a little bit of a different direction with this add-on. But yeah, just like with the classic one, feel free to change any of these blocks once you get it for yourself. Anyway, there's not a lot more to see here, so we'll move on to the 12th Doctor's TARDIS next. And this one is actually one of the ones where I've changed the most blocks. In fact, as you can see right here, I've basically changed all of the blocks. It was just too good of an opportunity to miss. I mean, basically all of the TARDIS building blocks, and all of the blocks in general, like this steel and stuff that the Dalek mod has to offer, were basically made for this specific TARDIS, or at least that's what it feels like. All of the rotors are perfect for this TARDIS, all of the pillars are really nice, you've got these grates and the black smooth plastic again, and then obviously these roundels, which look really good. So this is one of the ones that I'm actually really happy with. Unfortunately, I had to sacrifice sacrifice the item frames in these bits right here. I think they do make a really, really nice effect and personally look better than what I've got right here. But the issue is item frames are technically entities according to Minecraft, so they don't actually spawn in when you create the TARDIS. Although I have been able to keep all of the banners that represent the chalkboards, so that's really good. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the changes. So obviously, as I mentioned, I've replaced all of the stone walkways and everything with black smooth plastic, just because it's literally the perfect block. It looks really, really good. So that includes this walkway up here. And then the other key difference is obviously I've replaced all of the deep slate with blue stained steel walls. So I wasn't too sure on this one, because obviously the blue is very vibrant here, and it's a lot more vibrant than it is in the show. In the show, it's sort of a happy medium between this and then the deep slate. But obviously deep slate doesn't exist in 1.16, so I had to come up with something else, and I think these blocks do a pretty good job. They're also actually the blocks that are used in the default version of this interior in the Dalek mod, as you can see here. And then we've obviously also got the roundels underneath, so this actually took quite a bit of working out. The good thing about these is for a lot of them I can sort of just copy and paste the build and then replace certain blocks using commands and stuff, but these all had to be hand placed, and it actually took me a while to work out how I wanted to place them. Because in the show it basically alternates between these lit up ones and then these not lit up ones, and I definitely wanted to recreate that effect. The other good thing is the outline of these blocks is the exact same color as the blue stained steel that I've used for the pillars and then also for these lights, so it sort of helps to bring it all together a little bit. So I chose to keep the roof as black stone. Now I probably could have replaced it with scorched smooth quartz, but I actually honestly just quite like the black stone, so the scorched smooth quartz would have been the more accurate choice. But I think this just translates to Minecraft a bit better, because with the scorched smooth quartz it looks really dark and it's quite hard to see anything, and I think this just looks a lot better within the game. So this is one of my favorite builds out of all of them, just because it's so difficult in vanilla Minecraft, whereas here I was basically able to replace all of the blocks with Dalek Mod ones, and in my opinion it's turned out pretty great. So that was really satisfying for me personally to see it have such a transformation. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this one as well, so we'll move on to the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. Oh yeah, and this one has quite a big material list as well. Thousands of black concrete, thousands of grey concrete, and thousands of these roundels as well, so sorry about that. So yeah, here we are inside the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. Once again, this has had a lot of the blocks replaced, so I've kept the black concrete roof. I think it just works really well, but to be honest, the roof is pretty much one of the only things that's not undergone any changes at all. So immediately one of the big things you'll notice is I've replaced my jungle stair and mud brick stair pattern with these, the steel rusted beam roundels. So I've got filled ones going all the way around the edge, pretty much just like it has in the show actually, and then I've got two layers of these ones that aren't filled, and in my opinion they looked far too much just placing them in rows like this. It looked a bit silly, so what I've done is place them every other block, creating a pretty cool pattern which just makes it feel a little bit less clunky in my opinion. And then down here I've also opted for some rusted steel slabs, basically just to break up these blocks because it looked really weird having full crystalline blocks right here. And then speaking of crystalline blocks, as you can see I've replaced all of the honey with crystalline, although I've actually left a lot of the honeycomb just for a bit of variety, and also because the top texture of these doesn't look that great in my opinion. I think the honeycomb looks quite a lot better. So I've gone for the top texture right here and then the honeycomb everywhere else in the TARDIS just for a little bit of variety. So if you're in survival, you'll be pleased to know that I've replaced the netherite with black plated steel, which is quite a lot easier to get, and I think it looks pretty good. The netherite honestly probably looks better, but I thought that was a little bit harsh. I mean, you're already having to gather like 100 lodestones for the 12th one. I'm not going to make you gather loads of netherite blocks as well now. So one of the bigger changes I made was actually the console. So in my original design, all of these steel blocks right here were deep slate, or polished deep slate to be exact, and then I used deep slate tiles on the console. So they're pretty similar blocks and colours, whereas right here, I've opted for a combination of dark oak slabs and rusted steel stairs. I think this actually works a lot better because it goes with the walls and everything and the rest of the TARDIS instead of basically blending in with the floor, and it is actually a lot more accurate to what we see in the show, which is this sort of brown, rusted, homemade sort of effect. Although I have kept the dead coral, which now looks a little bit weird because it used to sort of go with the colour, and now it definitely doesn't. Nevertheless though, I still think it creates a pretty decent effect. So yeah, that's it for the 13th Doctor's TARDIS, and finally we've got the one you've probably all been waiting for, which is the brand new 14th and 15th Doctor's TARDIS interior. So let's take a look at this one right now. now. And here we are inside of the TARDIS interior. So this one actually has had a pretty decent amount of changes, although off the bat it might not look like it. I've kept all of the white stained glass and white concrete the same. I've obviously had to replace the ochre frog lights because they're not in 1.16, and initially I went for sea lanterns, but I actually think these ship lights look really cool. They look a lot like roundels with this sort of circular design thing. Speaking of roundels, I've also replaced the bit that goes around the door with actual white roundels because that's sort of what I intended with the whole item frame thing. And plus, as I mentioned earlier, you obviously can't have item frames in these TARDISes. But yeah, let's take a look at the rest of the TARDIS. So one of the key changes was I swapped out all of the grey concrete and white concrete for black smooth plastic slabs once again. These things are ridiculously handy, and white smooth plastic slabs. So one of the benefits to this was that I can actually make these walkways half slabs, because in the show they're really thin, but I just wasn't able to replicate that in vanilla because obviously we don't have concrete slabs or anything, and the grey concrete was just the absolute perfect colour for it. So it looks a lot better now because obviously we've got slabs and stuff going up all of the spirals, and then all of the rest of the platforms are quite thin as well. I've then also replaced the light blue beacon with some light blue rotors with grey at the top and bottom. This isn't strictly accurate, but it's sort of close enough because in the actual thing they've got like a bit in the middle which is light blue and then sort of metallic grey on either side, and that's what I've tried to go for here. And then the great thing was, now that I'm not using a beacon, I can place this chiseled quartz block here, which I think looks perfect with the quartz block and the stainless steel either side. I think that creates a really cool effect, and that's actually what I originally wanted to do for the vanilla one, but I obviously couldn't because we had a beacon going through it. But yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. I've kept the corridor entrances and stuff. I've kept the monitor. I've just replaced the calcite blocks with these white diamond plated steel because obviously we don't have calcite in this version. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So one question you guys may have is compatibility. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, I actually already have a data pack which adds all of the classic TARDIS interiors that I made for my TARDIS tutorials into the mod. And I'm really happy to say that that is entirely compatible with this new Who TARDIS interiors data pack as well. So you can have either one of them or have them together, and I've loaded up a new world to demonstrate this, although it might not look like it. This is actually a new world, and as you can see cycling through, we have all of the classic TARDIS interiors, but then also all of the new Who TARDIS interiors as well. I have no idea why the images for these are quite so low res. Maybe I'll try and fix that in the future. So yeah, if you install both of these data packs, and by the way, I'll leave a link to the classic TARDIS showcase video down in the description for you to go and download the add-on, then you can play with every single one of the Doctor's TARDIS interiors that I've made for tutorials inside the Dalek mod. One thing I haven't really brought up until now is the resource pack. So this isn't just a data pack, it actually comes with a resource pack as well, and that will be included in the folder which you can download using the link in the description. So it'll include both the data pack and the resource pack. So the resource pack is optional. The only thing it does is add the images that you can see on the ARS machine. So you can actually have all of the TARDISes without the resource pack, it's just you'll see a weird pink and black missing texture thing on the ARS machine when you go to select them. So to install the resource pack, it's super simple. You just download the one that says resource pack, and then go to your menu, press options, press resource packs, and then just enable it. So as you can see, I've got both the classic interiors one and then the new Who interiors one selected right here. So you literally just drag it in to the available thing and then just flick it over to the other side and select it. It's basically exactly the same thing you do for enabling the data pack. And speaking of enabling the data pack, here's a little tutorial on how to do so. So here's how to install this data pack. So go ahead and click the link in the description and it will take you to a page which looks like this. So just go to the top right corner here and click this button which will download it for you. Once you've downloaded it, open your downloads folder and it will be the top one and it should look something like this. Next, you need to left click it and then right click and press extract all, this button right here. So it will come up with a pop-up like this. You just need to press extract, and as you can see, we have both the data pack and the resource pack inside this folder. So a minute ago I explained how to install the resource pack. You just go ahead and put that in your Minecraft resource packs folder, so do that now, and then you'll be left with this, the data pack folder. As you can see, if we double click this file, it's got all of the data pack files and stuff inside of it. So go back to this file right here and then open Minecraft Dalek Mod. So there is a reason I've opened Minecraft in windowed mode, and we'll get to that in just a second, but yeah, go ahead and open the Dalek Mod, and then you can put the world names whatever you want, obviously. Do everything that you normally would, and then once you're happy, go to this button right here, Data Packs. press this and you should have something which looks like this. You probably won't have this data pack or this one on the side because that's just some extra mods I've got installed, but you should have everything else exactly the same. So now what I'm going to do is move this window a little bit down here, and then what I'm going to do is hold left click and literally drag it into the available side right here. So it'll say, do you want to add the following packs to Minecraft? Press yes, and then you need to hover over the cobblestone and press this right here to transfer over to the other side, and then click done. So once you've done this, you're good to go ahead and create your world, press proceed and everything, and then you're ready to go. Anyway, that is all that this add-on has to offer. I really hope that you liked the add-on and that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like or comment, and if you'd like to see more content like this, then please subscribe. But I've been DT10, and I will see you in the next video.